Unfortunately, if we allow these divisions to continue, then, machines are going to take us over, period.
Sir, let me start with the one simple question. What is success to you, sir?
You were going to be in, you were going to be in Islamabad when I first took this interview from you.
I'm now in Lahore, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have with us a really special guest, the son of a Gujarati British entrepreneur who came to England from Kenya with his wife. They have 6 children with £5 in his pocket and went on to found the Patak's business in 1957. The legacy of more than a half century, Mr. Kirit Pathak, his struggle, his journey, his sacrifices, today we will hear all. And we feel really honored that he has given us his precious time. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kirit Pathak is here with us. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you, Hassan. And thank you for asking me to attend this meeting. I hope that the story of our life and the struggles that we've had are going to be helpful to the very many students and people who you are associated with and who will be watching this video.
Indeed, sir. Indeed, it will be. Sir, let me start with the one simple question. What is success to you, sir? How do you define success?
When I get there, I'll let you know, I guess, Hassan.
I think you are an inspiration for all of us. And
how can you define it? I think success is comparative, I guess. I think if you're like me, I guess my ethic is to survive, and if I've survived, then that is success. But when I look at myself as an entrepreneur, I don't consider myself to be successful when I have other peers and other companies with whom I compete who are way bigger than me. If I want to aspire myself to be the Nestle's or the Unilevers of this world, or the Mars of this world, then am I really successful? I'm not so sure. But it'll never stop me trying to get there. Now, of course, if I'm comparing myself to a small grocery store, you could say I'm very successful. But then everybody is successful every single day in the littlest things that they do. If they achieve the smallest progress that they make, that is success. And for me, every day that I pass in this life, I look at that I must try to do what I can, the best that I can, and hopefully that will render a good result. And that is a success, and every little thing adds up. And so if you are successful, if you can appreciate that you've achieved something one way or the other.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. I agree. Sir, what was your key driving force throughout your life, and what made Patak's what it is today? And you started from nothing and achieved a lot. So what was your key driving force throughout your career, sir?
I think, first of all, of course, it must be to survive. We are here to survive our everyday battles of life, if it's to get the food on the table. And my driving force, I guess, was that I never see the obstacles. If I see the obstacles stopping me from doing things, my driving force is to overcome those obstacles. That's my key driving force. And in life, the whole of life is full of obstacles. From the moment we are born, we are having obstacles in our way, one way or the other. All the challenges, everything in life is, if I take that as a challenge, and I want to overcome those challenges. To me, that's the biggest driving force. I suppose that's why I say, what's my main aim is to survive, because just to survive today is a challenge. And so we must take these challenges and overcome them. And this is my everyday driving force, that whatever obstacle comes my way, I will find a way to overcome that obstacle. That's the driving force that I have as far as life is concerned. And of course, that goes right through every aspect, whether it's your personal life or whether it's your corporate life, and even your sort of social life, everything, it's everything is there to be challenged every day and overcome.
Sir, you just talked about your social life and personal life. So how do you maintain your work-life balance? Like, it must be very tough when you have a business which is growing and which has grown throughout the world, more than 50 countries. How do you manage this also?
I'm not so sure. You can say I manage it very well. In fact, I think it's very much an imbalance. And again, one of the things that's always there looming on my door is the challenge of trying to get that balance right. My work life, has dominated my entire life. When you are in a mode of survival, then your personal life gets second place. You need to sort of concentrate on what is the priorities of your life. And if the priorities of your life is to bring food on the table or put, look after your children or whatever, your friends, unfortunately, they're last in the queue because you got so many other priorities, whether it be family, but the business side is what brings the means, the economic means for which you can have all the other items. And therefore, for me, the priority was concentrate on bringing and looking after the income side. And therefore, hopefully you'll get time to spend with the family and make sure that you look after them. And so that for me is, unfortunately, the imbalance of life. I can never get that work-life balance right. Everyone says, Kirit, you've got enough wealth, you can retire. Why aren't you retiring and everything else? I don't know. It's in my blood, I guess. It hasn't come out. I'm still struggling hard to find that work sort of economic and sort of business challenge. The businesses are as sort of still close to my heart, running in my veins. I can't get it out of my veins, unfortunately. So I do spend still significant time on all my corporate activities.
So, and how your beautiful life partner, Meena Patak, how she has helped grow the business to what it is today. I've watched many documentaries and some of the articles I've read, and I'm so impressed by her as well. And I think she has been with you all the hard times.
Oh, absolutely. I think to have your wife or your partner sort of supporting you, it's critical. And she has played a very, very significant role in the development of our business. She's brought, she became the face of the company.
Indeed.
And did that. It was a strategic move, which I felt was the right thing to do to get the products introduced. She was very significant in bringing the whole of the Indian aspect of Indian recipes into the company. We of course, we were a sweet maker, and we did all these gatiyas, bhajjas, savory snacks, and all the Indian sweetmeats, gulab jamuns, and all these things, jalebis. That was our forte. And of course, my father, he started with the pickles and everything else. And I mean, it's a story of profit by mistake, really. And then, of course, when she came along and she could see that we were struggling with some of our things, she got involved literally from the kitchen in her home. She didn't go to the factory until sort of like about, I think it was 6 months later. And then she realized what we were doing. And she always had a passion for food. And so she immediately cracked some of the recipes that really made our business sort of great. One of them was the tandoori paste, which was one of the first products that we launched in the non-Asian market. And this has really been, like I say, the seeds that were planted in those early days to make what Indian food is today in right across the world and outside India. She's significant. There's no question about it. She's devoted her life to it as well, and we've worked extremely well as a partnership, each with our own specific responsibilities. But the hard work she's put in, as well as raising the family and looking after my parents, very formidable lady in every aspect. And I could not have done it, and I don't think Patak's would be what it is today if it wasn't for her and all of her contribution towards that.
That's great to hear that, sir. That's very great to hear that, sir. So some of my English friends, when I told them when they have seen the poster, oh, you're interviewing Mr. Patak, they were very, very impressed, sir. And everyone in UK, sir, knows Patak, and it's very popular. So have there been some obstacles specifically in the UK when you started? Obviously, you started the Pataks in the UK. So now everyone in the UK knows the Patak. So how many obstacles, like main obstacles, which have been there when you were growing your business in the UK?
Oh, I can't express just how many. It's huge. I mean, it's just huge. What can I tell you? In the early days, there weren't that many Indians and Asians in the UK. They were dotted around in various places, but the sheer prejudice, the sheer sort of, they call it racism today, but the reality is that the prejudices of one, being a colored person, two, the sort of the food and everything else, which they used to denigrate purely because of these prejudices. Now, how do you break that obstacle? It was huge, and I faced these prejudices right throughout my youth, at school, everywhere I went, and then of course when I was working and trying to establish even a shop in London, it was dramatic, and so the obstacles were huge. It's all I can say is that they were there, but you can see that we overcame them one way or the other. I mean, there's a lifetime of stories about how we had to break down these barriers of prejudice and racism, to try and introduce the products to a country that had no sort of want of those things. The only people who really had a small sort of passion for Indian food were the colonial British, who used to come back from post-independence from India and Pakistan and all these places, and they had some inkling towards it, but there was no Indian food, nothing. We were the first shop in London to import even Indian vegetables and spices, to try and sort of meet the demands of the Indian consumer. and then of course, to try and get that into the Indian restaurants, because there was very few Indian restaurants. But this is how we saw the opportunity I saw the opportunity to just say, that if we are supplying to the Indian community, we're never going to succeed by that alone. And, I wanted to be in every stomach in the world. I love the food. So, why is it that people don't like this food? So there's my challenge. And so once you start to accept that that's, you have a vision and a mission, you just keep going until you reach it. And that's exactly what we have managed to achieve.
Sure.
In a quite expansive and formidable way, which now Indian food outside of India and Pakistan, Patak has been the pioneers for establishing this thing right throughout. And so it's no wonder, and we will continue to do so.
Indeed. And I hope that the Indian food nowadays, I was just reading that there are more Indian restaurants in London than in Mumbai. So that's very impressive. Sir, after so many obstacles, a lot of struggles, the question which comes up to my mind, why you sold Patak, sir? Like giving a lot.
Well, why did I sell Patak? It's a good question, because, you're growing your business and there are plenty of competition out there, big companies who have got way more resources than you have. And the hard work that you've done to pioneer and make a company that requires a lot of resource. And when you don't have enough resource to expand, you have to look at what's in the interest of the business, not what's in your own personal interest.
So
you create an entity, the corporate becomes the important thing. You have, hundreds of employees and their livelihoods and their stake, and all the work that you've done by seed planting in all these different countries. As we were expanding, as we were seeing these markets growing, say that we planted seeds in about sort of 40 different countries with various exhibitions and putting Indian food out there into America and Europe and Australia and lots of other countries. We were expanding, planting seeds, distributors that we had set up in these countries. And then as you get the distribution, then you have to invest in those markets in order to push the product from the distributors, from the supermarket shelf into the people's homes. And how can you do this if you don't, you can't, if out of 10 countries, even if 3 of them or 4 of them become sort of interested, very interested, you have to seed them fast. Otherwise, your seed planting, a competitor will come in and they will take all your hard work. So for me, at the time, when I could see that there was only so much resource within my own financial resource, and the business was generating organically whatever it could, in the best interest of to get those markets more and more sort of populated, more and more sort of fast-tracked into the supermarkets, it required a lot of investment. And for that, I took a decision, as did my family, my wife and my children. We had, serious meetings about it. And I said, look, if we don't, then we are also at risk. I could borrow money. I could take more money from the banks and everything and try to expand it. But there was a risk. And, let's face it, I think when you look at what happened, look at how fortunate the decision was. It was a great decision made, because then when the crash happened in 2008, 2009, you can see that, the whole of the global world went into recession. And at that time, of course, this was a crucial time, and I had managed just literally the year before to start the negotiating process for looking who was going to be the best company to take all that hard work and take it to the future. And so, even though I've sold the company, I'm still very much involved with the company. As our family name is there, they respect it enormously, and they've done a fantastic job. And makes me extremely proud that we've chosen the right people, the right partners to take it. I tell them, you're not the owners of my company. You're just the custodians. Same as I was. I was a custodian. I didn't look at myself as being the owner. I looked at myself as being a custodian. You create something, and you must pass it on to the right people. You cannot just take it with you, and you can't see it die after all those years of seeing, sort of sweat and toil from that little tiny kitchen and nothing in your pocket to what you create and build. Be responsible for your business and hand it over to the right people. It wasn't about the money to come into our pocket. It was about finding the right custodian to make your dream come true, which is to be in every stomach in the world, one way or the other. And if Patak's can do that through its Indian food, that's great. And as you can see, we've expanded with the Patak's business into way other cuisines as well.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. And you have made us proud, sir. You have made India proud. You have made South Asian proud all around the world, sir. So recently, I had interviewed one of the entrepreneur, a British-based entrepreneur, Zishan Shah, and he told me that money is the byproduct of the greatness. To what extent do you believe, sir? Do you believe that money is the byproduct of greatness?
No, I would say no. Money is, it's just a measurement.
Sir.
Okay? It's just a measure. It's not it is a measurement. Let's face it. There's a value to everything.
Sir.
And, you have to accept that in a corporate environment, you are going to get valued by money.
Sir.
You cannot survive in the world, and so therefore it's just a measurement. But it is by no means the be all and end all of your company. Greatness comes from many things, and I don't look at greatness as a matter of ego. And I am not a person who really, quite frankly, gives too much attention to ego. It is as destructive as it is motivational. And so therefore, for me, money is an important aspect that needs to be highly respected, because only through money that you can achieve your aims. If you create something and it becomes great and it becomes popular and everything else, well, great, you're doing your job. I mean, and from my perspective, you create an entity. Doesn't matter whether you're the owner or whether you're the sweeper upper in your factory, or whether you're a processor working on a production line. We're all important, and we're all critical to the success of that business. And therefore, to me, that is doing your job. So do your job, and we're all great. Don't have the ego, whether you're the owner or whether you're the shop floor worker or whatever. Everyone is important. Every single one. I mean, people used to say, you're the chairman and you're the managing director and everything else. And so I say, yes. But I also have a director of hygiene. And I I introduce them to the person who is mopping the floors in my factory.
Sir.
These are directors of hygiene. They're all important, every one.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. So, that also brings me up to the question. A lot of people think that becoming an entrepreneur is very easy. Do you believe there is any pattern or formula or any shortcut to become an entrepreneur, which some of the people says in the market nowadays? Because when we see the stories of people like you who have achieved a lot with nothing in their pocket, so that we call an entrepreneur. But people just say that there's a formula or there's some sort of pattern which these people follow and they become successful.
It's the ability to be able to be, it's the ability to be creative. We all have creative genes in us. We all have ideas. And, it's that creative force within us. If you can harness some of that creative force in you, if you take again my original premise that we're here to survive. So to be creative in your survival, that's what it is. Entrepreneurship is about, being creative in your survival. If you have an idea that says, look, I can do this and I think I can earn some money from it, then fine, do it. And even if you're working for somebody else, even in a business that doesn't belong to you and you're just an employee, that creative force is what everyone, a good managing director or a good chairman like me, what I look at is looking at the creative force of every individual within the business, within the corporate sort of environment, all the hundreds and to be honest, thousands of employees that I have today.
So
I am wanting to stimulate the creative force. I want to tap that creative force that will make our business great. And that is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not just one individual or anything. Yes, he might have seeded the idea. He might have done the hard work and the pioneering, getting it off from the idea stage into an entity or a tangible, expand upon and create the foundation stones. But real entrepreneurship is in every individual. So you have to tap that creative force. If you take even the big companies like Microsoft and Apple, just tapping the creative force of somebody's ideas.
So
they put them in their offices and they say, look, create a program. And so, it's creativity. And I think every single individual on this planet has creativity. They have to apply it and people can help them to apply it. I think one of my jobs, in life and in business is to try and tap people's creativity so they can succeed. They can feel proud of what they're doing as well. And they can be a real contributor to mankind.
Sir, indeed, sir, creativity leads to success. Sir, there are two things which are very important for us as students as well. Now, there are two types of people. One of them say to us that university is not really important to become successful. It's just waste of money. And there are other people who believe that university is very important to become successful. What is your idea about this, sir?
Very interesting question. Education is very important, but it is not the be all and end all of whether you're going to be successful or not. In my own case, I'm not educated. I got to my A levels, and I had a small course in business management when I left school. And then I was thrown into the deep end of survival. and no university. I had aspirations to have a university degree.
So
on one aspect, I would say that, look, if you don't have an education, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have or be a failure. If you don't have a university degree, it doesn't mean that you're going to be any less than others who have a university degree. Don't just take that you cannot get the job. Say, okay, I know that unfortunately, when people come for interviews, you're competing against somebody who's got a PhD or a master's degree. So who would you employ? Would you employ the person who has no degree or the person who's got a degree? Because the degree is a measurement that you've achieved a certain pass mark in a school, in a university. Which, yes, look, when you have thousands of people competing against the same job, your university degree is critical. It's important because that's the competition. If that's the entry point, then that's your first challenge. The first challenge must be, I must get a good degree. I must make sure that I'm cleverer, not cleverer per se, but I must make sure I've got a degree that's going to hopefully land me a job, and at least it'll show people that I've reached a certain level of intelligence in order for me to get the degree. So, from that aspect, I would always encourage people, learn. You never stop learning. Indeed. The university of life is going to be with you throughout your life. And even to this day, I'm just an avid learner of the university of life. And for me, whatever I have to do, if I have to learn to survive, then so be it. If that's what I got to do, I will do it. I will have to learn. I must learn. I had to learn to do the job when I got that job. So, it's critical. I think I encourage everyone, please do learn as much as you can, get the university degree. I know it's not easy and I know it's expensive, but quite frankly, it should see you through to a better state. It helps you in your thinking. The one thing that I never got was, a sort of a formal education like that in order to help me in my thinking. I had to employ people way cleverer than me, way smarter than me. They had degrees, they had master's degrees, they had letters behind their names, and I had to employ them in order for me to get to where I am. And I could see the difference, their way of sort of organizing and thinking. But what the pleasure for me was? I was learning from them. They became my tutors. They became my professors. And yet they were my employees.
Sir, very impressive.
So it's important, very, very important. But don't ever underestimate your own common sense, your own drive to learn.
Sir.
And there are way smarter people. I've seen it in India. I've seen it around the world in the impoverished countries. Their ability to think, it outweighs people from the UK, highly educated people. But they're very smart on paper.
Sir.
But you have to be smart in life too. You can't just be an academic and just you have to apply a lot of skills.
Sir.
But I would encourage everyone, get your education to the best as you possibly can, to the highest level that you possibly can. But you must apply it too. It's not, what's the point of having an education if you're not going to apply it?
Sir.
So apply your education, and that doesn't mean the specific subject matter that you are learning in university. It means your the ability to think in a better, and also in the way that it can stimulate your creativity.
Sir, one of the questions which always comes up to my mind, and my idea of which I started, United South Asia, of uniting the people of India, Pakistan, and all these countries, the developing countries. Sir, do you think that it can ever happen that we, the people of India and Pakistan, like when I was in Pakistan, I had a different point of view. But when I came to UK, one of the best friends of mine are Indians. I sit with them, I eat with them, and same is the case with the Indians. Sir, do you think that it can ever be possible that we will be working together as a community? Because it's very important, and it is the need of the day.
Hassan, everything is possible. And I personally have never ever thought of division.
Sir.
I do not, I can't tell the difference between a Pakistani and an Indian.
Sir.
I was the only Indian amongst all of the white community in the UK. I never saw another brown face,
sir,
quite frankly, when I was growing up.
Sir.
I was the only colored person in my school. Sir. I was the only colored person in 50 miles around.
Sir.
And the only other one was a doctor who was studying in the hospital.
Sir.
And so I didn't know anything else. I only saw that I was, and I never saw myself as Indian.
Sir.
Because what is my society? And that's where I was. So even today, my wife thinks I'm too much of an Englishman. But, the reality is that, of course, that India and Pakistan can and will one day, definitely, they will realize that what separates them is that people will divide.
Sir.
That's how the world was ruled. It was ruled by division, created by some external force. When you look back in history, India and Pakistan wasn't it? It was all one country.
Sir.
When Alexander the Great came and he invaded, it was one country.
Sir.
It wasn't two countries. Pakistan wasn't it. We were one people.
Sir.
And so to say that, yes, there are divisions have been created. I don't like to bring religion into it, but religions are very divisive.
Sir.
I think as human beings go, as mankind goes, we are all of the same kind of, we still have blood, same red stuff running through our veins.
Indeed.
And does it matter whether or not, this ideology, or call it what you will, that religions, I think that we as ordinary human beings and mankind, we all want the same things. We all want peace, we all want success, we all want unity, we all want equality, whether now, of course, with gender as well, we want to be equal, we want to be mankind. And mankind's basic premise is that we want to be just loving, happy people. We're all seeking the same thing.
Sure.
And so I honestly think that, and I have enormous, I can't tell you how many Pakistani friends that I have. And I know there's a lot of my Indian friends who, bring up sort of stuff. I think racism, unfortunately, is something that needs to be eradicated.
Indeed.
And I think that in time, as this next future generations come, there is hope that they will hopefully make a difference. When you start seeing artificial intelligence and all this technology coming in, I think mankind will unite one way or the other, because we will, unfortunately, if we allow these divisions to continue, then, machines are going to take us over, period. It's nothing to be scared of, but mankind has to wake up. We have to do it. And this younger generation, if they can come up in a world where we can realize, like this pandemic is, COVID is teaching us many lessons. Indeed. Unity is the way that we can tackle these kind of external forces. Instead of dividing us, it should be uniting us.
Indeed.
And it will happen. There will be great people who are already born, and we all have to be a part of it. Every one of us must, put aside these instead of this programming in our head, quite frankly, whether it comes from some experiences or whether it's because it's taught to us within sort of dogmas and these things. We must take a human point of view and not allow differences to split us as people, as mankind. There's no difference between us. We're all after the same thing. So why should there be any differences?
Indeed. And it's the need as well. It's the need. And I personally think, and my whole team, we have been working on it. It has been 1.5 years, and we've got so much love from the people, from our elders from India. Whenever we do events in London, people are sitting and they are just, every one of us have this in our mind that this is bad, which is happening. Some of them can't speak, some of them, but they have this opinion that we should unite. And I think that if we could have been not like this, we could have grown up a lot, because a lot of our budget is being spent on these wars, these silly wars. France and Germany has fought the wars, and now we can see that how they are working. And I sincerely pray that we would be working together as we do outside of India and Pakistan, in abroad countries. So thank you very much for your time. I'm really honored that you have given us your time, and we feel privileged. And I hope that your life partner, Meena Patak, she is okay. Your son, Niraj, Nayan, and Anjali Patak. I'm very impressed by Anjali Patak as well. She's doing very well. I've seen her documentaries as well. And thank you very much, sir. We really feel honored.
It's a pleasure, Hassan. And, inshallah, all will be happy, all will be successful. And we will all survive from this pandemic, as well as in our life, we'll achieve and fulfill our dreams.
Indeed.
So,
inshallah.
God bless you, inshallah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
Thank you.